Hello, everybody, and we're live. Sorry it's been such a long time since the last video, but, coronavirus, exhaustion, and then, of course, they finally started opening everything up, so getting things done became a really important thing. You should have seen my backyard. You should have seen my front yard. You should have seen everybody's yards. You should have seen the lines trying to get toilet paper because that finally became available. As far as I know, however, Lysol's always been available for Joel. So if you guys still don't have any, send your checks and money orders to Joel. He'll hook you up. Only $20 a can. Ha. Just joking. Seriously, though, today's show is supposed to be about some of the more important things that we've discovered and the things that aren't happening right now. For example, the CDC has sent out guidelines, and quite a few people just don't seem to be able to understand what in the world they're all about. And I don't understand how you can't understand it. And we'll talk about nutrients, supplements, how to keep yourself healthy again. You just have to ask, let me know what you want to know. We'll talk about it. But the first things first, Joel, what is the official line on why a mask is important?
The reason why masks are important is not so you don't catch it, it's so you don't spread it. It's to stop the particles from coming out of an asymptomatic person and reaching somebody else. So that's the reason behind masks. And yeah, look, I have to wear one like 12 hours a shift, about 3-4 days a week. And then when I come home, I have to wear one when I go to the store. I'm willing to do that. Granted, I have a person who has severe asthma in my household, so I do it for her. It would be nice if everybody else just consider that.
Okay.
And there's a photo out there, Sean. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a photo with a nurse had coughed in some agar or some sort of material to grow bacterium, and they coughed in one with the mask on and coughed in the other without the mask on. And you should see the shit that was going on in the other one without the mask. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like hairy, literally hairy.
Yeah. And got to keep in mind that bacteria is really large by comparison to a virus, and this is a virus. And so there's a lot of masks being sold out there, and this is not a joke. If you buy something that's made out of synthetic fibers, you're literally going to filter nothing unless it's designed to act as a filter. And polyester and nylon just let everything through. And the more you stretch them, because they're polymers, the bigger the holes get. So if you're buying something for $1.99 or $5 from somebody who's selling it out of the back of their car in the parking lot at Target, yes, that example is coming from my town. Then you're really not buying anything that's going to protect you or anybody else. Yes, you are living up to the letter of expectations, but you are seriously asking everybody else to be at risk because of you. This is one of the things about life in any kind of a modern society is that, yes, you have freedom to do things, but with freedom comes the expectations of upholding certain standards. And when somebody says, it's not for you, it's for everybody else, that's serious. Keep in mind, I've already had coronavirus. My whole family had it. We were textbook cases, including my youngest having it the easiest. We now find out that children under a certain age can be asymptomatic, have only a fever for a couple of days and some aches for a couple of days, and then they're just contagious as all get out continuously. So this whole thing of, we want our kids back in school. I don't know why, because let me tell you what will happen. You're going to make them into virus bombs. They're going to interact, get each other sick, come home, and then they're going to give it to everybody. And Grammy and Grandpa are going to go off to meet God. If that's what your aim is for, by all means, that's fine. Then that's on you. And then comes the reality that there's something could have been done. We are doing it, and these other people aren't. Like, here's my favorite. Joel, tell me how many times you see this, because I actually counted every stinking day for the last week. That's part of the reason why I wanted to delay this, because every time I go out, I see some variation of this. What? Okay. Hello, I'm an idiot because I'm wearing my mask wrong, and my nose doesn't actually eject viruses or allow me to inhale them.
Yeah, I see that. A lot of times, I see.
So did you give her patient's rights?
So the one thing that probably bothers me the most is like I work at a hospital. I can't even get an N95 mask unless I'm dealing with somebody with the virus, and it's weird to see so many outside. And I know everybody, people buy them and they got them from work, and that's where they get them from. But that's cool. But the one thing that bothers me the most is gloves. So wearing gloves, unless you're gonna change gloves when you touch a new surface each time, is doing nothing. You might as well just touch it with your hands.
It's basically Petri dishes with latex, or what is it? Nitrile now? Nitrile gloves? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the one. It's always like weird to see, and it'll be like adults holding their kids' hands that don't have gloves on. And they're like, oh, I'm going to touch everything in the store. I don't want to touch anything, so I'm going to wear my gloves. So I'm guessing the one reason why most people do it is so they don't have to worry about washing their hands when they get home. But if you don't know how to take your gloves off properly, then you're going to need to wash your hands anyway. And if you wear gloves and you're in a environment like the hospitals, after you take the gloves off, you're going to have to wash your hands. Wow. So
okay. So
my thoughts on that.
Now, the first example I gave you with the mask, where the nose wasn't covered, that was 7 minimum every time. When I went to Home Depot, the number jumped up to 12. So now here's another one. You can talk about something while I'm putting the mask on, because this is we have to do the quick change, and we don't have music.
So the one thing I want to remind everybody is this. Now that we're testing a bunch of people, there will be an increased number of the number's going to increase. Of course, that's because we're testing more people. So like in some of our hospital environments, we're actually testing for antibodies, the staff. So those that have been working ICU, that have been around coronavirus positive or possible coronavirus patients, are the first people that my hospital is testing for antibodies. So at some point, they're going to come around to us to test us for antibodies. The chin strap.
My chin's protected. It's sort of like smoking in the car, but you keep your hand out the window. The car won't get cancer. See?
The chin strap.
This one was. I've walked by and I counted this one, and this is a big one amongst women who don't like to cover their face for whatever reason, and then they walk like this, or they have the really loose ones and they're just like this in front of them, like this, because that's good enough, like so. Can't do that with these because this pulls tight.
Fortunately for me in my area, it's hot or cold. It's people wear them or they don't, and I understand I've seen people in Home Depot in the garden area without them. It's an open area. I'm not too crazy about. I'm not gonna. That's neither here or there. But like crowded stores and not wearing them, I don't get that. That's what I don't get.
Now the places I'm talking about are actually inside stores, like Winco, Target, that kind of thing.
The real crowded ones, the ones that's hella crowded all the time. Yeah. No, I know what my Winco's like, and my Target is like, and it's.
Now, I don't have a mask that can show the example I want to give, but there's one that literally barely covers the mouth here, and it goes up barely over the nose, and you can see there's gaps everywhere, and the person's only covered like this much. And if they talk, their mouth comes out the bottom of the mask. I really can't pull that one off. I can't because, okay, these are made by my roommate. Now, Joel has one. We made one for him. These are, watch.
Sub-Zero.
It looks extremely cool because now I'm safe. We call these the ninja style, and you can obviously see why. Now, you can hear me blowing, right? This is one of the tests where they actually would light, if you light a lighter and you can blow it out, then the mask isn't going to do crap. But if you can put the mask on, now we don't have a flame here, but it's going nowhere. It's not blowing against the mic. No matter how hard I try, okay, it's not going to go anywhere except maybe ruffle my own feathers. So that means that the mask is doing its job. This is a 3-layer mask. Doctors and the CDC, and quoting a New York Times study, said, no shit, if everybody was wearing a mask and performing social distancing right from March 1st, we would have 8% of the deaths that we have right now. 8. Let that sink in. 8% of 100,000 in the U.S. Not 8% less, 8%. I don't even know how to express how disgusted the whole idea I have over the fact that we didn't. And so there are people who don't want to do this. If you don't like that I'm browbeating you about something to keep other people safe on a channel which is all about metaphysical stuff, because my guides have been the whole time through been banging on my head to say something, to say anything, to say a lot of stuff. It's truthfully one of the more annoying things I have to deal with, especially Airmid, because Airmid won't leave me alone. For anybody who's actually seen what it looks like when she wants me to go get something in particular for everybody in the household to eat, she just doesn't let go. So it's been 2 months of constantly having to deal with that. This is all about our desire to keep you safe, because guess what? This is what we do for a living. Psychic work is just a side thing. And we're trying to help maintain and help you stay alive, which was the whole reason for all of the nutrients and supplements I talked about on the last show. There was a lot of them. I mentioned tons of them. People keep telling me that they watch and rewatch the show because there's so much information there. I apologize. I should have stretched it out. That it literally is too much to be able to take in right away. Which is why you can ask us anything you want about any of these things. And for those of you who still think that this virus that's going around is just like the flu, remember, worldwide, in a year, the flu kills at most 175,000 people. We're so far past that. In the U.S. alone, we're at 100,000 for 2 months. Don't even get me started about what the rest of the world's dealing with. The only country that got this down pat was Taiwan. They literally stopped it dead. When they knew it was coming in, they performed incredibly. Everybody acted responsibly. Nobody had to say this is a rule, do this because, otherwise, extreme prejudice. Nah, none of that. All they did was step up to the plate and do what they needed to. Now you're able to go out into the world. And this is not going to be something you're only wearing for the next couple of days. This is going to be something until they're able to slip a needle into your shoulder and give you an immunization. Okay? Yeah, no, I'm one of those people who's all about let's do the immunization. When they told me there was an immunization for chicken pox when they were about to slip it to my son, I'm like, hot damn, really? And they're like, are you going to object? No. My God, no. I've had chicken pox. Let me do it for you. Where was this when I was a kid?
Oh, man.
Can I ask you a question?
Seriously. And once that's done and we have this out of the way, then these will go away. But until then, it's cool to be responsible about caring about other people. Because, man, Joel hasn't had it yet, but I'm telling you, the last thing I would ever want to do is watch him have it for any reason.
Remember I told you that my whole family got sick?
Oh, did you guys actually get it?
I think we might have. We haven't got tested yet, but there was that day, that week I had off. I had like 4 days of fever, and I was so weak I couldn't get off the couch. And then like 2 days after 2-3 days after I had it, my daughter got it. And then 2 days after my daughter got it, my wife had it. And my daughter was the one taking care of me. She was the one that was bringing me stuff to drink and stuff and make sure I was okay. And my son had it before I had it a few weeks before. And it was like a weird flu. People that were at work had this flu, and they were negative flu. They had flu-like symptoms that end up causing bronchitis, pneumonia, and they were still at work because nurses. They got sick. They were sick for like over a week, and they couldn't be sick at home anymore. They had to go back to work, and then they came back to work, and then a bunch of us ended up getting it. And I think one day out of that week, right before I got sick, we had 20 call-offs on one shift. Now it's like on night shift, which, I mean, my floor it's the largest floor, and we have like 8 nurses. So you figure 20 staff members, probably a third or fourth of that was nurses. Yeah, it was hurting pretty bad.
So keep in mind, this is not to try and keep this thing from getting to other people. It's eventually going to do its rounds. It's going to do a lot of damage, but we're trying to get to the immunized state. We're trying to make sure that everybody has a chance, so that if it does happen to fall on somebody whose immune response can't handle it, we're going to give them the best chance possible to survive. For now, that's all we really got. That's all any of us are asking for when we're asking, please get a real one. Don't buy one from somebody who's just selling it for $1.99. Don't get the paper ones. Don't just do, and this one's one of my other favorites. They just go, I'm going to 7-Eleven. Okay, pulling their shirt up over their nose.
Oh my gosh!
I actually had a thing on this about how that crap doesn't work, and I need to try and find it. I've forgotten where I dropped it. It was there. It is. Okay, let me screen share this. Screen share. Application window. There it is. Okay. Now, one of the things you're going to definitely notice is that there's no face covering is obviously 0%. Well, everybody's going to be saying no shit on that one, but that's, it has to be said. And the source of this is a New York Times article from April 5th, okay, citing research from Missouri University. Okay, so the mask, the minimum level of mask that I would recommend would, of course, be the quilting fabric 2 layers. Okay, coffee filters. You're going to have some people who are they're told you can't come to work unless you have a mask with coffee filters. Well, those are bupkis. If you're just breathing through a coffee filter, that's not an N95. It's not even the quality of a surgical mask. And the quilting fabric, as you can see, comes close to what a surgical mask is, but the difference is you don't have to throw these away afterwards. And the ones that are most commonly out there, made by most people that know what they're doing, following most of the formula online, are actually 3 layers. It'll be 2 layers with flannel in the middle, which acts as an even better fiber catcher. So it's above this one. It's somewhere around the level of this, but so it puts it on par with a surgical mask that you can just keep on reusing. So yeah, that's kind of an important thing to keep in mind, is the cost as well, because it's cheaper to get one that you don't have to replace. You just keep on washing. And most people don't know that, and they don't know about the blowing test, which is, you'd think that's all gotten all around. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, you've got doctors online right now who are making YouTube videos and have been doing this since March, telling you that vitamin D, yes, vitamin D, you need vitamin D. All you need is vitamin D. We know what vitamin D does, but don't get too much vitamin D because it can be dangerous, even though we don't know what a dangerous level is. And previously we thought we did, and we found out we were wrong, but we're going to still say that it's dangerous because I didn't study this in school, because what's after my name is MD. I wish I was being hyperbolic. Medical doctors get 3 hours, 3, of teaching about nutrition and vitamins. And all their training is geared towards saying, don't send them to a nutrition store. tell them they can get everything they need from food, even though research in the 90s said, we know that's not possible anymore. So keep in mind what the source is. It's been trained to be inept. Now, don't tell me that I'm saying that you shouldn't be going to a doctor when you need medical help. That's what they're there for. If you get a broken bone, you go to a doctor. You have asthma, you go to a doctor. You split your head open, you go to a doctor. You have an ingrown toenail, you have a lupus, you have these. That's what a doctor is for. Okay, that's what Joel is there for.
So I was going to say one of my prerequisites was food and nutrition, and just so I can make sure that it was acceptable for bachelor's or master's level, I did food, nutrition, diet therapy. Let me tell you, that was a lot of stuff. That was a lot of information to take in. I'm hoping that as a prereq to go into some of the other schools, they have to take that at least, because if they did that at least, the only problem with that is remembering all that, because they were so long into their journey into medicine that they probably wouldn't remember any of it. They might have remembered hearing a little bit about it, and that's about it.
But no, they actually don't. They don't require any in-depth study into nutrition at all. It's because it's seen as something that gets in the way of them having to do all of that extreme learning on the body and diseases and all that other stuff. That's 8 years of extreme work. So they pare it down by that, and they don't know enough to send someone to a specialist on that. Take it from somebody who went to the University of Florida to learn this stuff. There's as much or more science involved in nutrients, biochemists are researching them all the time, than there is in most medicines. That's not to say that medicines aren't tested and understood. It's just saying that vitamins are understood way better, but we're not. For some reason, there's this zeitgeist that's going around Western worlds that drugs are what you need, not nutrients, which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. In fact, there is only one Nobel Prize in medicine that has gone to a drug. I forget what that is. And all the rest are to natural substances, natural supplements. If you don't believe me, look it up. You'd be surprised.
I think the reason why that is because a lot of Americans are not looking for, they're looking for something easy and not something that it's going to take a while. They want that. It's that instant gratification.
Yeah. Well,
with the way our technology has gone and everything, now we want everything now, and that's one of the downfalls to like our technology being as fast as it is.
That's like Charlie Chaplin in the Great Dictator. Our technology had made us fast, and our hearts hard. So you can't compare drugs to nutritional supplements, and there's so much research that's actually shown that you have to take them consistently. In fact, I recommended on my Facebook page that everybody read one that was from Dr. Rath about continuously taking vitamin C to get the cardiovascular benefits that it gives. It can't be just, oh, well, I'm going to take it now. And I'll take it for a couple of weeks and that should solve the problem. We don't know. We literally don't know. We because there's no way to really peer into the body directly, and there's no way to look at how fast myocardial tissue forms, how much damage that it can take, how fast it bounces back. We don't know, and a lot of that is from the research we have. It actually comes from testing on animals that we've had die from certain conditions that we've imposed on them, and we've seen the degeneration, so we know what it looks like. But we just don't know as much about how to be able to rebuild it. We know what can tear it down, and so we come up with drugs in order to be able to save us from that tipping point, or when we've gone over the tipping point to try and help us get back, and hopefully our bodies can get back to normal. The drug doesn't do that for us. Okay, so here's going to be a story about a man named Sean, who about 12 years ago used to live in a place that was not so great, who 4 people were fighting over to see who owned it, and it was a triplex over on Denker in the city of Harbor Gateway, and they wanted us out of there because we wouldn't pay rent because they all wanted us to pay rent to all four of these guys who were all fighting over this. You may have heard in 2008, it was that, the housing bubble, and everybody was trying to grab the same house from one bank, and Bank of America was trying to go, oh, I'm going to sell it to you, and I'm going to sell it to you. And one gentleman from Sri Lanka finally came up with a fine idea. Well, because we'll introduce roaches into the house so that they go through the entire triplex and they start going after the food. And we made him have to spray, and he sprayed everything, including our glasses and dishes, and made sure that they were covered in poison. And the only person who got nailed was me, fortunately. And I only got one swallow of the stuff. Should have killed me. Instead, it messed with my kidneys so bad that my renin level is on the roof all the time, and I have to take drugs to keep it down, but not as bad as it used to be. My blood pressure used to be 280 over 140. That was while I was medicating. 280 over 140. It took a while before they figured out what the magic cocktail was to bring it down. Notice how I'm not disparaging doctors, because Dr. Rusoff saved me. Dr. Rusoff figured out how to be able to get it down there. Fantastic doctor. Absolutely outrageously underrated. And once we got it down to normal, and I was able to start supplementing to fix myself, my blood pressure came down precipitously, really fast. And we had to adjust the medication back down. I'm now on less than half of what I was taking before. And if I don't take any blood pressure pills, my blood pressure on a calm day goes up to about 155 over 90. So it's not anywhere near as bad as it was. Compare that to 280 over 140. You're going to have a stroke and suffering migraines every day. And that took me years and years of taking these supplements to get to here where I'm better. I'm not going to be 100% well. Those pills are still going into my mouth and down into my stomach every day. So you will never hear me say that there's no reason to go to a medical doctor. I am ever so grateful for the medical profession and the dedication that they have. Sorry, Joel. I had to get on the
No. You know me.
It was a combination of the two. It was Dr. Rusoff, and it was the nutrients I was taking. There's a lot of things out there that are totally beatable. Anyway, so I'm glad you guys found it funny about the masks, but I also wanted to share this with you. My roommate, okay, we don't charge here on the channel, but my roommate, she actually is making these masks, and it's going to be a thing, like I said, for quite a while. So why don't you buy a good quality mask? This is from her.
I like that blue one over there with the stars, my dude. Bottom left.
That's actually Tinkerbell.
Is that Tinkerbell? Ooh,
that's Tinkerbell.
That's
Karen's mask. This is actually the reverse side of several of the masks. Oh yeah, that's actually on the inside of one of mine too. You can get different styles. Ones that hook behind the ear. You get ones with bias tape so you can tie them on yourself. Ones with lace. Basically, they're all the same quality. These are all cotton, 100% cotton with flannel in the middle. Isn't that one cool?
I like that one. Of course, I like all the Asian theme ones.
You got to show them yours, though.
Bam. I like that one with the palm leaf.
Well, if you ask her, pay her, she'll send you one. That's part of it.
I can't wear those at work anymore.
I know.
But I might actually order like one of the ones with the tsunami, with the waves, because that's my jam right now. That's my jam. Yes. You don't have to show me, my dude. That's my jam. That's my jam right now. Ooh, yeah.
She's got a lot of that fabric too.
Yeah.
So, and these masks, they are very hard to breathe in for the simple fact that they are a filter.
I'm not going to. Well, here's the thing. So
you're used to other stuff, but go ahead.
On the N95 training, one of the things that they do is they have this bit of spray. They put your head in the hood. They have your mask on. You put it on. They spray this bitter tasting spray. If you can smell it or taste it, that means it's not fitting right. That means you have to figure out how you put it on to make sure it fits right, or you need a different size mask. So for all you people out there with beards, some of those beards, you're going to either have to learn how to tuck it in good, braid it something, or, I'm sorry, COVID, cut it off, it grows back, my dude.
Yeah, that's another thing I've seen. A lot of people wearing ones and their mask just juts right out the bottom.
The beard, yeah.
Here's another thing too for people that like we're not all as lucky as Joel, where Lysol still exists. So here's a cool thing for you. Now, this I'm gonna have to go to full screen so they can see me. Okay, so
no, this is a good one.
All right, now this one for those of you who do not have a Lysol spray, let me tell you how to make a Lysol spray. What you do is you start off with 91% alcohol. I know for there's people out there, you know who you motherfuckers are, who are selling stuff and go, oh, this is hand sanitizer. And it says 50% alcohol, and it's not hand sanitizer. It's just fucking alcohol, 50% alcohol. So that means half of it is alcohol and the other half is water. Okay, the CDC says for it to kill COVID, it has to be over 60%. So you need to start with 91% alcohol. If you can't get that, get 80. If you go too low, then you're just going to be spraying direct alcohol on yourself, and that's not going to create Lysol. So starting with 91%, if you can get it, you fill up a bottle, and this is going to be portions, not the exact amounts. So you're going to go and you're going to use the entire bottle of alcohol, and you're going to pour into a large spray like this. And if the large alcohol is about a liter, then that means you can put a half a cup of vinegar, and this is for smell. This isn't for killing bacteria or anything. And a tablespoon of lemon juice, and this is to add smell. And then if that's not enough, you can find a tea bag that you like the smell of. So let's say what I did, which is actually a very rich orange peel. It's called orange peel. You put 3 tea bags in here because this is going to be alcohol. You do this before you add the vinegar, and you let it steep, and you can see it changes color. It creates an herbal infusion. Why the herbal infusion? Because it's going to kill more bacteria? No, I'm not one of those loons who says all you need is herbs. It's because it smells nice. That's the whole reason for this. It's not to augment the power of the alcohol. Alcohol is strong enough on its own. What you need is to be able to stand it. So adding the vinegar and the lemon juice, a tablespoon, as well as the tea bags, is so that it smells nice when you spray it in the air instead of smelling like you're just spraying straight alcohol, and you might as well just be spraying that. This is just to make something in your home that's palatable, metaphorically speaking, or I should say it doesn't cause you to be nose challenged, that you can spray in the bathroom and on surfaces and to kill bacterium and you can even spray it on your hands, and it acts like a hand sanitizer. You can carry it with you if you don't mind carrying a big bottle or putting it into a small spray bottle. And then, because officially starting off with 91% alcohol and doing what I just said will keep it about 75% alcohol, and it dries real fast. See? Now, it's not officially concocted by any kind of a pharmacist or chemist, but it is chemically viable. And it's better than spraying straight alcohol on your hand, because the ingredients I put in there, including the vinegar, means your hands get soft, not chapped. And I actually got that formula from Miyok. I'm lucky I got Miyok.
That was a great PSA, by the way. Love it.
Miyok is great. When he said, he says, you know what to do, and then he started nudging me about the tea infusion. I'm like, tea infusion? He's like, yeah, you can make an herbal infusion on your own. I'm like, oh yeah, with alcohol. You can do that with grain alcohol. I don't see why you can't do it with isopropyl.
Yep. I'm sorry.
I sometimes feel like they treat me like a child, because in so many ways I am.
I mean, in a grand scheme of things, we pretty much are.
Yeah. So, like, our plans for the channel are going to be from this point forward. We're hopefully going to be doing one show a week. I don't know what's the most regular time, because I don't know what Joel's schedule is like, but go ahead.
I mean, no, I was just saying, yes, one show a week. Even if we record something and then maybe post it up later, that'll be cool. We can do like a small group of people in the audience, so we have like a live audience, even though it's going to be broadcast at a later date. That could be one of those things that, just because my schedule is all over the place. For those of you who don't know, I'm a nurse and I work night shift, so I sleep. Like, this is about the time, like, I would have been up about 2 hours on my normal sleep schedule. And so a lot of times I work like weird schedule. I have like 2 days on, 1 day out, 2 days on. So it's kind of hard to get that day. And especially I don't have any control of which days I get, even though they say I make my own schedule.
Okay. So one of the things that was kicked around on one of these channels that I was unfortunately recommended on YouTube, I don't know what this algorithm follows, but I think some of it is designed to annoy me. And this medical doctor talking about, well, we just don't know what vitamin C does in the body. And I'm sitting at the same desk I'm sitting at right now, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Are you shitting me? Are you absolutely?" And this is from a medical doctor, okay? And not only do we know what vitamin C does, in comparison to most of the other vitamins, we know vitamin C better than all of them, which is why now we're finally doing research on vitamin D and finding that the whole idea of pushing large amounts of it is great for your immune response, fantastic for diabetics because it actually has a safety mechanism that it activates in the pancreas we still haven't fully explored, because we just started actually realizing it's a good idea. No, it doesn't cause kidney stones, though that they've pushed that one real hard. No, vitamin D2 is garbage, and no, fortifying your milk with vitamin D2 is ridiculous, because it decreases the chance of rickets in children whose bones are forming. It has no effect on actual blood saturation for vitamin D at all. We know a lot about that now because they're now starting to look at it. But there's a guy who's a multiple Nobel laureate named Dr. Albert St. Georgi, a Russian guy, who did so much research on vitamin C. He was like the Tesla of vitamin C. This guy he was like, oh yeah, research, finding out new things. In fact, because of him, we got a few pieces of research that came over to the United States in the 1920s that people wanted to check to see if it was accurate. Did you know that a large enough dose of vitamin C for a person who's a type 2 diabetic helps to reduce their blood, the urine in their sugar in their urine? That was completed in 1929. When I saw that come up on some of the things I'd been looking up, I was shocked because they're trying to present it as being brand new, like nobody's ever done this research before, or it's not conclusive, or it's not over the top. And vitamin C is just one of all the vitamins. They've done so much research on many of the minerals, in fact, that we now know that if you're mineral deficient, it actually leads to more endocrine problems than we thought before, because normally you would think minerals and that you would lead to problems with sterner bone structures. Stronger structures, heavier structures like muscles, etc. It does, but we now know that your bones and most of your more durable materials are actually more made out of protein, which is why we now know that calcium in large doses is not really all that great for you. In fact, we're over calciumed. We take way too much, and we don't need as much of it as we're consuming. On the other hand, we need more protein, and we're getting too little. And so we're finding that these minerals actually go into the ability to process sugars for nerve stability, and that getting them around is done by the water-soluble vitamins. Now, they call them water-soluble because supposedly you can't store them. But we now know that, yes, you can. You can store them. Your body is greedy to get it. It just, the more that you take, the more it's able to use. In fact, as you consume more vitamin C more regularly and you keep on using it alongside of the Bs, your body starts to produce more and more of the these killer cells that go out and kill. I'm saying killer cells, but I shouldn't say killer cells because that's actually a proper term. But you find that the largest single storage house for vitamin C in your body is your adrenals and phagocytes that go through the body killing large, deadly things.
Yeah.
Leukocytes also have a good portion of it, but it's more in the phagocytes. I didn't know about the phagocytes. That's actually recent research. They now know that they are the largest, defense mechanism that carries vitamin C in our body.
Yeah, we talked about the phagocytes a little bit, and I don't think we talked about it much in diet therapy. I don't think that was available at that time, but we definitely talked about some of the vitamins being precursor to a lot of stuff in the body in my nursing when we hit the immune system.
Yeah. Well, there's because all vitamins are, except for one, are only precursors. They are how the body bolts stuff together. Mm-hmm. One vitamin is a part of your body. I actually mentioned this on the last video, but you weren't there. So can you guess what it is?
One vitamin, you said?
One vitamin becomes a part of your body. Not just like you goes into your cells and it forms. No, I mean, literally it's required to create. And it is a large portion of the makeup of one particular part of one organ in your body.
Vitamin K?
No. Vitamin K is needed for clotting factor and a bunch of other things, including the ability for platelets to slide past each other. It's absolutely a perverse thing. It's required for both sticking together and keeping apart, as well as healing. So it's
Yeah.
it's like nature's freaking Velcro. But no, it's vitamin A. It's vitamin A is retinol, and it makes retina, the back of your eye.
Wow.
It's literally 90% of the retina is vitamin A.
Wow.
So if you didn't have it forms that shiny part, the glowing part of the back of your eye. Like if you see a cat in the dark and it scares the crap out of you because their eyes are glowing, that's why.
What is that?
Sounds like somebody cutting something.
Jeez.
The hell's wrong with your computer? That's his computer starting
It's
off.
an audio interface.
It's it was an audio interface. It's okay. We're not going to explode in this household.
That's
I forgot.
that sounds like somebody riding a chainsaw. Is what it said.
It sounded like that.
My goodness.
Brett, why is it always me?
Because it's usually me. Oh my God. My household is falling apart. We ran out of water.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, we got another one in the thing. We just have to
Pull it over and put it in. Yeah, and so with everything opening up again and people being able to get out there, please, everybody, be careful. You've got to make sure that you honor social distancing. It's in the cases of people who haven't already had it and you don't know who it is. It's for your sake. We're still finding out things about what this thing will do. Like we don't know for sure if once you've had it, you're immune. We're getting closer to understanding it. Some doctors are now saying that once you've had it, you are immune, which is great. But they also haven't said whether or not re-exposure makes you a carrier or not. And that's another thing. That's another scary part. A person who could be immune could still typhoid Mary it to other people. We haven't eliminated that yet.
Yeah. Do we know the one thing I haven't heard about yet is I just broke out. That's okay. Can't remember what I was going to say. And there you have it. Just on my camera.
You're working too many late nights. Oh wait, that's all of your nights.
Oh my gosh. It was
Okay.
what was it? Oh, mutation.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. See if
Yeah.
it starts mutating because that's the thing with viruses and bacterium and diseases and stuff like that.
So, changing the subject over to just purely paranormal, in the last several weeks, we've actually helped quite a few people, and it's been quite interesting. One was a lady whose property was infested with a lot of dangerous stuff, and we had to leave one spirit in place as the linchpin. And this guy normally never let any family out of there without ripping them to shreds. Now, I'm not trying to say, hey, here's one for us, aren't we great? But we did save the family, and we saved the marriage, and we cleared the property.
That's right. That was yes. Okay. Yes, I remember that.
That was what I couldn't let the guy misbehave anymore because he was making this lady's family sort of oh gosh, I don't know how much I can mention her brother do things that were completely out of his character. I mean, really out of character, and I don't want to mention particulars. And he was totally unrepentant about it because this thing literally had him by the short hairs. And there was a story I was told by their mother about a reverend or a pastor who came there to give her first communion, and then right as he left, he went and became an alcoholic and gave up the cloth. Because this thing that was in there loved drugs, loved cigarettes, loved cocaine, seemed to love all of this stuff. But for all of you who think that cocaine is like a new invention, it sure ain't. Watch Porgy and Bess. Okay.
Cocaine was around in Coca-Cola original formula back in the day. Kind of lit.
Yeah.
That's why we had some crazy ass people back then.
So where this stuff was around, cocaine generally tended to cause people to be nutty, and it actually this guy could literally make people crave the stuff.
Oh yeah, lack of sleep, that would do it to you.
Yeah,
lack of sleep.
So once we finally got this property cleaned, it was like, oh, that's awesome, fantastic. And the things that came out of the woodwork when we started cleaning. Oh my God, Joel, I forgot to tell you. Okay, I'm standing there with the boundaries protected as best I can, and I step out past the edge of the house because I literally had created a boundary around the house to keep things out so that they could stay safe. And I walked out past the edge, and all of these people are walking at me like, you remember Hollywood Shuffle?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember the pimps, the zombie pimps from hell? Yes. Where's my? Remember? Okay, I know. Yeah. Okay, there's people walking at me all like that, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this reminded me of when I was the guy who was breaking up a block party because they were all drunk and I had to fight like 10 people, and I'm thinking, nope, this is like absolutely the worst thing ever. And as they get closer, one guy looks up, and I realize he's got a noose around his neck that's been cut, and so it's still the noose around his neck, and he's like. And I thought, please let this be the solution. And I cut it off of him. And all of a sudden, it was like in The Wiz when Eveline gets flushed down the toilet and everybody's like, they all come back to themselves and they don't look all screwed up anymore. I'm like, oh, this worked. Good. And I start cutting more. I tell the elementals, let's get on it. And they start cutting them. And it was like a wave. And they all came. It was slaves. It was white folk who'd been lynched. That was the minority. There was everywhere. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And I was so grateful that it didn't have to turn brutal. I was practically begging, please don't make this be something where I have to start punching them backwards, because they didn't deserve to be in this situation. They didn't deserve what I was seeing. Yeah. And so after that, I called you and I said, Joel, please do something, because I got some of this backed up and started, but my God, I can't do that more. That's not my job. And so, yeah, well, I don't know what you saw. I don't know what happened, because afterwards, all I know is that I was told that all of a sudden the guy was acting normal the following day.
So that matters. I didn't do much. I just did my normal clearing. I just didn't do it from close. That's how I roll though. Safe distance, nuke it.
Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
I mean, we're not trying to get all that close. I told you about the other day we was helping the one person out, and I was having things deciding they just want to run up on me.
Yeah,
which was super weird because like I normally don't have things come out of the woodworks, and it was just like I don't know. It was like weird. It was like once I was working on that person's problem, there was just going to be more just like activity increase around me. So, but
that's a thing that happens a lot when you start doing work. All of a sudden, stuff just materializes. Often, things you didn't even realize when you're pouring energy into like one thing.
Yeah,
I'd like it if there was some way for me to be able to forecast exactly why that occurs, but it just leads into whenever we do something and we start shedding light in an area, things are like, oh, what's that? And they'll move in.
Yeah, but you know, I'm glad. I hope that person, all their questions were answered. I'm not sure it was, but I know they were hitting. I don't think that they realized like that we all use each other as resources when we were trying to figure something out. So usually, if you get in contact with us, you'll have a contact person. That contact person will get in touch with the rest of the team about your issue, and we will consult that person on things that is more suited for them. So if you ask one person, asking somebody, you know, if you want to ask like all of us at the same time to get all the information at once, which would be a lot of information, it's best to do it in a group chat. That way we're not doing working like overworking the case. We don't want to be doing it over and over and thinking of something else and knowing that it's not, because sometimes a lot of information gets left out. So
yeah, so it's always best when you come to us for you need assistance to do like stick with a contact like and this is the reason why I keep calling you a shaman, Joel. Just live with it because it's easier for people who identify with that for me to go shaman. It's going to be Joel. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And I send them to you for all the vibrational stuff, Reiki, shamanic, you know, getting to put in a tune that the healing. That's your jam. That's your jam. I'm just starting to get into that sort of thing. But you got an emergency or something's dangerous, you come to me. But after the emergency is over, after we know what it is, you know, and I've told you it's not me, that, you know, the doctor is in, then you need to listen and stick with the doctor.
That's using my line. Talk to that guy.
It's like, no,
I'll talk to my crystal person because she's on point. She knows what's up. If I don't know anything about a crystal or I'm not sure, I will ask them. I will tell you what answers I get and it's funny because people ask me about crystals and stuff and I'll give them like, you know me, I have to be there and be around the crystals. I'll be like, that one, that's the one for you. That is yours right there. But like I'll tell you get a crystal, but it might not be what they're traditionally used for, but it doesn't matter because that's
the vibration that matches their need.
Exactly, because there's something that's going on with their vibrational pattern that might need to be bolstered, and that might be the thing that might need to bolster that part, which will let everything else go. Because sometimes, you know, it's like Parliament says, free your mind, your ass will follow. You kind of have to do that. You kind of have to let go of preconceived notions. Just do it and then see what the result is, and usually it's actually pretty good.
Now, the reason why I did the this and covered my smile is because 4 days ago, we were at the market and was there with Eric, and Airman's like, don't you walk away, and not pay attention. I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. There's not as many people here. What is it? She says, grapes for your son. He wants them. I turn and look at Eric and go, did you want grapes? Yeah. Okay, which ones do you want? And he goes over to the green ones. And she says, he doesn't want the green ones. I said, you don't want the green ones. Why are you looking at the green ones? She says, well, because I thought you wanted them too. I said, no, pick the ones you want. So see,
it's the red ones.
So I go, oh, so it's gonna be the red ones, right? So I said, so which ones do you think are the best? And he goes over and goes, these. I said, no. And I took his hand and I moved it over and I put it on. I said, he goes, how do you know? I said, when we get home, you'll see. So we pulled them out and Karen goes, oh my God. So she looks inside the bag and all of them were this big.
Yo.
Now this is me just doing what Aramid said. None of the others were that big. And this one was actually at the bottom of a pile with 3 left in a row with several of them on. Okay, this is why this is so freaking funny. Like you get the crystals calling to you. She's telling me which produce to get. So we get home. And Eric and Trevor are fighting to see who can eat the most. And these things, every last one of them is a mouthful. Every one of them's like,
oh, dude,
bigger than cherries.
I don't know what's going on with red grapes this season, but oh my gosh, I can't keep them in the house. Like I eat a lot of green grapes, but the red ones this year.
Now the red ones are better for you for one reason. I'm not saying the grapes are bad for you, so don't say I'm saying green grapes are bad. Okay, the reason why the red ones are good for you is because that pigment, that makes them, it's literally a purple pigment, and it'll make them black if there's enough of it. The black ones are really good. Oh my God, those are really. It's called resveratrol, which is why you're seeing a lot of people going, oh well, if I drink my wine, it helps. So you have these wine moms who are drinking themselves into a stupor, saying it'll help them fight cancer. No. Get yourself some grapes, clean them off, enjoy. I promise everything will be fine. And the red ones are better for you and you'll get your resveratrol. And if you need more, you can get it in an extract, in a pill, and it's even more powerful. But don't be doing well, my wine is my medicine. I'll slap your ass. Sorry, Joel.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It can help with your nerves. It can help with things like that. But yeah. I have one of those. My doctor said 1 glass a day, glass that's shaped like a bottle with a glass on top. Yeah, I don't choose that, but I thought about it. That's what times I got out for work. I'm like, I need a fucking drink.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. So the next show is going to be about any problems you guys have, bring them to us, whether it's nutritional, whether it's health, or whether it's metaphysical. If you got questions, now's the time to ask. We're going to answer them, and that's going to be in 1 week's time, hopefully. It's going to be a give or take couple of days. Don't know exactly what the day is going to be, but watch the channel for it, and we'll show you. We'll be there when in a week in order to answer your questions. And if you guys have a suggestion for a show, we're ready to put one up whenever you guys ask for exactly what you need. And or if there's something we've already gone over, you want us to go over it more in depth, because I know our channel has like 80 goddamn shows on it. If those don't answer the questions succinctly enough, just ask us. You can come in, you can put the questions in the sidebar, and we're ready for you. So until next we meet, stay blessed.
Oh, wait a second. Before I forget, no matter what we're talking about, we'll usually answer your question.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about what the subject matter of the show. Just come and ask.
It doesn't have to be on point. It doesn't make a difference to us. If there's a question you got for whatever it is that we can help you with, or if you just want to say, "Hey, I'm in trouble right now. Can you come to the rescue?" No problem. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. So got no problems with it.
Yes.
Well, you all stay blessed until next we meet. See you next time.